platform called The Bible in Plain View, where we give brothers 30 minutes to come up and teach about different subject matters that's in the Bible. And today, my title is called One Lord, One Weekly Sabbath. And this lesson is very important, right? There's many aspects to the Sabbath day, such as how to keep it holy or even what it points to. But right here, we're just going to deal with, hey, that the weekly Sabbath is the seventh day, and it's the seventh day for all people, right? And the reason why this is so important is because if you're not keeping it on the right day, you're actually sinning. And we understand that Romans 6 lets us know, hey, that the wages of sin is death. And ultimately, this death that we're talking about is the lake of fire. So we're going to make sure that we are actually doing what the Lord say by keeping the weekly Sabbath on the right day. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into the scriptures, and we're going to start to read, and we're going to break this down. So let's start in Mark 2 and verse 27, because the Lord said something very profound right here in verse 27. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath.
Right, so if you read up right here, you will see that, hey, they was trying to catch Jesus up, the Pharisees, like they always was trying to do. They was trying to catch him breaking the law, right? But we know Jesus never broke the law. But what he said to them, one of the statements that he made to them, and it says, and he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So we know in the beginning, hey, the Lord made everything in 6 days, right? And everything that he made in those 6 days, he made for man. But we also getting to see that, hey, the Lord rested on the seventh day, but ultimately that rest was for man. Let's go over to Genesis 2, and let's read where he actually gave the Sabbath day. Genesis 2, and we're going to read 3 verses. Verses 1 through 3. Genesis 2, verses 1 to 3. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them.
So we see right here, it says, thus the heaven and the earth was finished, and all the hosts of them. So the Lord was working for 6 days. So he's setting up a standard right here that we can see. Go ahead.
And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made.
So right here, that's the example right there. It says, and on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. So the Lord was working for 6 days, and he rested on the seventh day. So right there, we see that's the example right there for mankind. Go ahead.
Number 3, and God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made.
Right, so it says, and God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, right? So he didn't bless the first day of the week, right? He didn't bless the second day of the week, but he blessed the seventh day of the week, and he sanctified it. That means he set it apart from all the other days of the week, because all the other days of the week you can work, but on the seventh day you can't work. And then he even gives you the reason. He said, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. Hey, so God rested. Hey, we should be resting as well if we following Jesus. Let's go over to Exodus 12. Because I want to point something out in Exodus, because like I said, the title of the class is One Lord, One Weekly Sabbath, right? So we're going to see when the Lord delivered the children of Israel out of Egypt, we're going to see that it wasn't only Israel that went into the wilderness, but it was also a mixed multitude where the Lord ultimately laid down that Sabbath law for the children of Israel. So we're going to read in Exodus 12. And we got 2 verses, verses 37 through 38. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot, that were men beside children.
So this is right after the Lord beat down Pharaoh, right, and killed the firstborn, right? So it says, and the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot, that were men besides children. So they leaving, they going to the wilderness. Israel, go ahead, what 38 say?
And a mixed multitude went up also with them.
So along with Israel, a mixed multitude went with them. Go ahead.
And flocks and herds, even very much cattle.
Right, so I just wanted to establish that so we can see that, hey, that it was a mixed multitude leaving Egypt with Israel. And that's something that I didn't always know. I just always thought that it was Israel that went into the wilderness. But, hey, it was a mixed multitude that also went into the wilderness with Israel. Let's go over to Exodus 16, because we're going to see even before we get to the 10 Commandments in Exodus 20, we're going to see that the Lord had laid something out in Exodus 16, right? So when you get it, Exodus 16, read verse 1.
And they took their journey from Elam, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came unto the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elam and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after their departing out of the land of Egypt.
Right, so they're leaving Egypt, and they're in the wilderness now. Jump down to verse 4.
Then said the Lord unto Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no.
Right, so if we would have kept reading, we'd see Israel getting to the wilderness. The first thing they're doing is they complaining about food, right? So the Lord is letting Moses know. He said, then said the Lord unto Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no. So right here we can see that the Lord is actually setting it up. He's planting the seed, so to say, to see where they walk in his law or no. We're going to see that this is actually dealing with the Sabbath day. Jump over to verse 22.
And it came to pass that on the sixth day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses.
Right, so it says, and it came to pass that on the sixth day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for a man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. So, hey, for 6 days, hey, they were gathering enough for everybody for that day. But on the 6th day, right, they gathered twice as much. Read 24.
24. And they laid it up till the morning, as Moses bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm therein. And Moses said, Eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto the Lord. Today you shall not find it in the field. Right, so this 7th day, right, the Lord said, Moses said in verse 25, and Moses said, Eat today, for today is the Sabbath unto the Lord. So what we're establishing right here, that there is a specific day that's the Sabbath day. It's not any day, what some people would say. It's not Sunday, the first day of the week, but it's actually the 7th day. So I'm going to read it again. And Moses said, Eat that today, for today is the Sabbath of the Lord. Today ye shall not find it in the field. Verse 26. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. Right, so it says 6 days ye shall gather it, but the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. So now we're seeing we got a name with the 7th day is the Sabbath, right? So Sabbath day or only means rest, right? So this is the rest that the Lord gave. Go ahead. 27. And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the 7th day for to gather, and they found none. And the Lord said unto Moses, How long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws? See, for that the Lord have given you the Sabbath, therefore he giveth you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. Right, so in verse 29 it says, See, for the Lord have given you the Sabbath day, right? So we already read that, hey, the Sabbath was made for man, right? So the Lord gave the Sabbath for man because he knows the end at the beginning. He knows that man is going to need some rest, right? So it says, See, for the Lord have given you the Sabbath. Therefore he giveth you on the 6 days the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man at his place. Let no man go out of his place on the Sabbath day, right? So because there's not going to be nothing out there for you to get, right? So it says, so the people rested on the 7th day. Let's go over to Exodus 20. And we're going to see when the Lord actually came down on Mount Sinai and he gave the 10 Commandments to Moses to give to the children of Israel. But we also know that, hey, that was a mixed multitude that went into the wilderness with them as well. But when we, Exodus 20, verses 1 and 2, when you get it, go ahead and read it. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Right, so when we come to Exodus 20, we always like to start in verses 1 and verse 2. Why? Because we like to show that, hey, this was actually the Lord speaking to Moses. Moses didn't make none of this stuff up. And he said, And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Jump over to verse 8.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
So one of the things that he said to him within these 10 commandments is remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Go ahead.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. And thou shalt not do any work, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
Right, so he says, 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. It's not the Sabbath of Moses, but it's the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. He says, in it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that's within thy gates. So we see right there, the stranger that's within your gate, he don't have another day to keep. He got to keep the same day that you keeping. Go ahead.
Number 11. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Right, so he's taking us right back to the beginning in Genesis, what we read in Genesis 2. He said, for in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Like we established earlier, he didn't bless any other day of the week, but only the seventh day the Lord blessed. Let's go over to Exodus 31. Once again, the title of the class is One Lord, One Sabbath Day. And what we're establishing is that the Sabbath day is the same day for all people. It's not a Christian Sabbath and a Jewish Sabbath. And we're going to see that once we get into the New Testament, but we are establishing our foundation in the Old Testament because we can read in Isaiah 8, it says what? To the law and to the testimony. So we're going to start in the law, but we're going to go all the way through to the testimony. So we're going to pick it up in Exodus 31, and we're going to start at verse 12, Brother Kevin. When you get it, go ahead and read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying.
Okay. It says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, not Moses speaking to the Lord. So I know Moses gets the credit for the laws, statutes, and commandments, but hey, he got it from the Lord. Verse 13.
Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbath ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations.
Okay, so he says, speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbath ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations. So we can see right now that he's giving it to Israel, but he gave everything to Israel first, right? And anybody that's going to follow Jesus, they're going to come up under the commonwealth of Israel and do what Israel has to do. And we're going to see that when we get to the New Testament clearly. But he says, speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbath ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generation. So, hey, you keeping this Sabbath day, it's a sign of who you're actually following. Go ahead.
That you may know that I am the Lord that doeth sanctify you.
Right, so it's that ye may know that I am the Lord that do sanctify you. Once again, sanctify means, hey, I done set you apart. Go ahead.
You shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people.
Go ahead.
6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord.
Okay, so it says 6 days may work be done, but the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy unto the Lord. So once again, this day is holy unto the Lord. Go ahead.
Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death.
And that's the second time we done read that in 2 verses. You shall surely be surely be put to death. And the Lord was serious about that because if you read in Numbers 15, hey, he actually did put a man to death for picking up some sticks on the Sabbath day. Go ahead.
Number 16. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant.
Right, so it says, wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. So throughout your generations, so as long as there's some children being born, that's Israel, which Israel is still around to this day, contrary to popular belief, Israel's still around. And hey, we still got to keep this perpetual covenant, which means forever. Go ahead.
Number 17, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed.
Right, so we're taking you right back to the beginning. Go ahead.
And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimonies, 2 tables of stone written with the finger of God.
Right, so he gave these 10 commandments, and the Lord actually took time out to write them with his finger. So, hey, we need to pay attention to that. Let's go over to Leviticus 23, because we're going to get a little bit more information about the Sabbath day. You know, one of the things people say is that, you know, outside of Jerusalem, we ain't got to keep the Sabbath day. But we're going to see what the Lord say about that. I said, we're not really dealing with how to keep it holy, but I just want to point out that, hey, wherever we are, we're supposed to be keeping the Sabbath day. So Leviticus 23, verses 1 through 3, when you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts.
Right, go ahead.
6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings.
Right, so we can see this is the feast chapter where the Lord lays out all the feasts that we're supposed to keep throughout the year, right? So the first feast that he actually talks about is the Sabbath day. And I'm going to pick it up at verse 3. And he says, 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings, right? So no matter where you are, right, on the 7th day, yeah, you got to start working. You got to rest on the 7th day. And we're going to see that once we get into the New Testament. We're going to see the Apostle Paul, he was traveling around, and he was still keeping the Sabbath day. Let's go over to Luke 4. Luke 4. Now we're going to get into the New Testament where they say it changed that. And we're going to deal with it. Luke 4. Luke 4 and verse 16, brother. When you get it, go ahead and read Luke.
And Jesus returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee, and there went out a fame of him through all the region round about. And he taught in their synagogues, being glorified of all.
Right, so Jesus, this is right after Jesus was tempted in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights by Satan. And he started to preach in their synagogues, and word was getting out, and he was starting to get a little fame behind him. Go ahead, verse 16.
And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read.
Right, it says, and he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read, right? So we still seeing that, hey, this Sabbath day is still around. Jesus is observing this Sabbath day, right? So he says, and he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day, and he stood up for to read. Let's go over to Matthew 28. Matthew 28, because there's some good information right here in Matthew 28. This is also one of the scriptures that people like to use the twist that say that because Jesus rose on Sunday, that changed the Sabbath day to the first day of the week. Well, we're going to see that in this Matthew 28, that, hey, he didn't actually rise on Sunday. And even if he did rise on Sunday, which he didn't, hey, we can't read anywhere that would change the Sabbath day. But Matthew 28, we're going to read verses 1 and 2. Read verses 1 and 2, and then we're going to jump to verse 6. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and her other Mary to see the sepulchre.
Okay, so we need to pay attention to that, right? So it says, in the end of the Sabbath. So it's starting to be the end of the Sabbath as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, right? So it ain't even actually the first day of the week. It's dawning toward the first day of the week. Go ahead, read.
And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it.
Right? And it says, I'm going to read verse 1 again. It says, and in the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. Verse 2, and behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came down and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it, right? So this angel came back, right, and he rolled back the stone. And what did he have to say to Mary? Read verse 6.
He is not here, for he is risen.
Okay, he's not there, right? Early, toward the end of the Sabbath, as it's beginning to dawn on the first day of the week, he gone. So we can't even say that, hey, he rose on the first day of the week because, hey, as it was dawning toward the first day of the week, hey, he was gone. Finish that.
For he's risen, and he said, come, see the place where the Lord lay.
Come see where he was, right? Come see where he was. Let's go over to Acts 17. Acts 17. Once again, the title of the class is One Lord, One Sabbath Day. All right? And we're going to see it's the same day for all people. It didn't change after Jesus died and resurrected like some will have you believe. All right? So we're going to go to Acts 17. Acts 17. Verses 1 to 2, brother. When you get it, go ahead and read.
Now, when they had passed through Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where was a synagogue of the Jews.
Okay, so you remember we read in Leviticus and all your dwellings, right? So we see Paul is traveling around, right? And it says, now, when they passed through Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where there was a synagogue of the Jews. Read verse 2.
And Paul and his manner went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them out of the scriptures.
Right, so it says, and Paul, as his manner was. Now we read in Luke 4, Jesus had a custom, right? Now we see Paul got the same manner. And it says, and Paul, as his manner was, went unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them out the scriptures. So hey, 3 weeks in a row, or 3 7 days in a row, or 3 rest days in a row, which is the 7th day. Paul went and reasoned with them out the scripture. So they was in there reading book. All right? Let's go to Acts 16. Let's go to Acts 16. Give me verses 12 and 13.
And from thence to Philippi, which is the chief city of the part of Macedonia, and a colony, and we were in that city abiding certain days.
Okay, so once again, Paul traveling around, right? Right? Verse 13.
And on the Sabbath, we went out of the city by a riverside, where prayer was wont to be made, and we sat down and spake unto the women which resorted thither.
Right, it says, and on the Sabbath day, so he's traveling around, but he's still observing this Sabbath day, right? And this is long after Jesus had died and resurrected. Hey, Paul didn't get the memo that hey, when Jesus died and resurrected, it changed to the first day of the week. He's still keeping this Sabbath day. And it says, on the Sabbath day, we went out of the city by the riverside, where prayer was wont to be made. And we sat down and spake unto the women which resorted thither. So we still seeing he's traveling around and he's still keeping his Sabbath day. Right? Let's go to Acts 13. Acts 13. Acts 13. We skipped that Nehemiah, didn't we? That's my fault. Go ahead. Acts 13.
14 and 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm saying we skipped the Nehemiah, but that's okay. We'll get it in. Be the Lord will. Acts 13, 14, and 15. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
But when they departed from Perga, they came to Antioch in Pisidia, and went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and sat down.
Okay. Still traveling around, right? But they still observing the Sabbath day, right? Long after Jesus died and resurrected. Read verse 15.
And after the reading of the law and the prophets, the rulers of the synagogue sent unto them, saying, you men and brethren, if you have any word of exhortation for the people, say on.
Right, so the rulers of the synagogue came to Paul and them, and it was like, hey, if you got anything you want to say, hey, go ahead and say it. Jump to verse 42.
And when the Jews were gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them the next Sabbath day.
Hold on. And it says, and when the Jews were going out the synagogue, the Gentiles. So we got two different people right there, right? We got some Jews and we got some Gentiles. They in the synagogue on the same day, right? It says, and when the Jews were gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them tomorrow, Sunday.
Sabbath.
No, I said the next Sabbath day. So in 7 days, hey, we want y'all to preach to us again. Jump down to verse 44.
And the next Sabbath day came almost the whole city together to hear the word of God.
So it says the next Sabbath day. So 7 days later, right?
Yep.
Came almost the whole city to hear the word of God. So we got Jews and Gentiles sitting in the same spot hearing the word of God, right? Long after Jesus died and resurrected. Let's go over that, chapter 18. Let's go over to chapter 18. We know, brothers and sisters, why there's so many different doctrines in the world today. We know that Revelations 12 tell us, hey, that Satan have deceived the whole world. And that's why, when you can clearly read, hey, the Sabbath day is the seventh day, somebody can come into you and say, nah, it changed. We know that that's because Satan have deceived the whole world. But we're trying to follow the Lord. So we're going to do what the Lord did. And we're seeing that the Lord kept the seventh day. We're seeing that his apostles was keeping the seventh day. And we're not even dealing with what the Sabbath day point to, because we know that the Sabbath day have a great meaning that comes behind it. We're just dealing with, hey, it's the seventh day, and it's the same day for all people. Let's go over to, where we at, Acts 18?
Yes.
Acts 18, and give me verses 1 through 4.
After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth, and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately from Italy, with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them.
Right, so we can still see Paul traveling around. He's still keeping this Sabbath day. Go ahead.
And because he was because he was of the same craft, he abode with them and wrought. For by their occupation they were tent makers. And he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath and persuaded the Jews and the Greeks.
So every Sabbath day, every seventh day, it says he reasoned in the synagogues every Sabbath day and persuaded the Jews and the Greeks. So we see we got Israel in there and we got the Greeks in there, or Gentiles, some other people besides Israel. They all sitting in the same congregation listening to Paul. Let's jump because we skipped. Let's go to Nehemiah 13. And I wanted to bring this Nehemiah 13 out because Israel had got away from keeping the commandments. The Lord had put it on Nehemiah to start setting things back up. And we're going to see one of the things that he set back up was the Sabbath day. Nehemiah 13. And we're going to read verses 16 through 21. Nehemiah 13, 16 through 21. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah and Jerusalem.
So the reason why I came here, right, because like I said, we're not dealing with the do's and the don'ts or the Sabbaths or things you can do, but what we're establishing is that there's a certain day that's called the Sabbath day, and everybody was aware of it. And it says, there dwelt men of Tyre also there, which bought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath day unto the children of Judah and Jerusalem. So hey, we're not talking about any day of the week or the first day of the week or Wednesday or whatever day you want to. We're talking about a specific day that's called the Sabbath day. Go ahead.
Then I contended with the nobles of Judah and said unto them, what evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers thus, and did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath.
Right, so I just wanted to bring you here right there. We're not going to even read all that, but I just want to see that the Sabbath day was a specific day, and they all knew what day it was. Let's jump over to the last place, Isaiah 56. Isaiah 56, and we're going to run through verses 2 through 7 real quick. 56, verses 2 through 7. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that lay hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil.
So we see that the Lord got a blessing out there. It says, blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that lay a hold on it, that keep the Sabbath from polluting it. Go ahead, jump to verse 4.
For thus saith the Lord unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbath, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant. Even unto them I will give in my house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off.
Go ahead.
Also the sons of the stranger
Also the sons of the strangers. Go ahead.
that join themselves to the Lord, to serve him and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servant, everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and taketh hold of my covenant.
Go ahead.
Even then will I bring to my holy mountain, and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar, but my house shall be called a house of prayer for all people.
So the Lord said his house is going to be called a house of prayer for all people. I pray you got some understanding in Jesus' name.